I'm Carolyn Osborn, and I'm reading from my first novel called Uncertain Ground. It's set in Galveston in 1953. The day we arrived, Aunt Bertha led us to our part of the bedroom, a double-sized space, since the sliding doors, which would have ordinarily made 2 bedrooms, had been pushed wide open. I saw then that she meant for Emmett and me to sleep on the twin beds, straight across from hers in Uncle Maury's. "We all need the draft." Bertha pointed to the tall front and back windows, the only ones without curtains in the house. "You want us both here?" I was so surprised I asked out loud. I'd expected a room of my own. Why couldn't Emmett have slept on the couch downstairs? That was the way my brother and I had slept when we first visited. Now Emmett had to have the only other bed in the house, one next to mine, separated by a narrow strip of rug and Bertha's supposed supervision. Uncle Maury, slightly deaf already, wouldn't have heard an approaching bomb, and he was, I thought, generally so unnoticing he wouldn't see somebody tap dancing naked in front of him. "Well, Celia, after all, you are cousins." She smiled as if she had said the most ordinary thing. Emmett grinned, hung a few things in the closet, and dumped his suitcase under the bed. He'd been living out of it mostly ever since. I emptied mine into one of the dressers and the closet. I wanted to slam the door when I finished, but Aunt Bertha was waiting on her side of the room, so I didn't. I was still unhappy in that bedroom with Emmett. I had to make sure he wasn't around, or go to the bathroom to dress and undress, and when I walked out, I had to make sure I had enough clothes on. At home, I could wander around in a slip or pajamas, not here. At the first sight of my blue flower sprig shorty pajamas, Emmett had given me a mock leer, just enough of one to let me know he was watching. When I added a robe, he stood by his bed, wearing only a pair of drawstring pajama bottoms, and laughed. Despising being made to feel too prim, I pulled the robe off and got the leer once more. When I got into bed, I turned my back on him. A flush broke out over my neck and down my shoulders as if I were standing under a warm shower. I rolled over and threw my pillow at him. He wouldn't give it back. "I have to ask Aunt Bertha for another one," I whispered. He laughed and tossed it toward me as if he'd planned to all along, and for that moment I wasn't an equal. I was only about 10 years old and at the mercy of a slightly indulgent, much older boy. I needed a place to be by myself, a room with a door I could shut. My brother and I shared a bedroom until I was 6. Since then, except for the semesters away, I'd had a room of my own. Emmett and Uncle Maury both snored. So did Aunt Bertha sometimes. So maybe I did. I didn't know. My roommates at the university hadn't complained so far. We'd only been in Galveston 2 days. The first I spent mainly at the beach, only 4 or 5 blocks away. I hadn't minded being there alone, with the low waves, the gray-brown sand, the huge light blue sky that turned almost white at noon.